Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Diane and my passion is painting and creating nature-inspired watercolours in my studio, which are easy for you to do too. I share all my paintings with you on YouTube, and on our website dianeantone.com you can find free downloadable sketches for all the videos to help you make the most of your painting journey. And if you'd like a little bit more, we also have channel memberships with loads of perks for you to enjoy. So welcome on board. Click subscribe and turn on notifications, and let's learn to paint watercolour. Hi everyone, welcome to my studio. Diane here. If I don't get started now, you won't ever get another video from me. Wouldn't that be a tragedy? It's been one of those days today, and what with having to go to the doctor yesterday and to shopping today, and I've got a husband's birthday coming up and we had to buy him a present, and oh dear, and it's 2:30 and I'm well behind. So what I'm going to do is, I need to sit down and have a relax. So yes, let's do a relaxing paint, and I'm sorry if the sound changed as I moved, but these things happen to the best of us. I'm going to use my famous Kuretake set today. It's looking a bit beaten up, isn't it? It's seen better days, that's for sure. And it's quite interesting, actually, when you look at it, because you can see the colours that I use that I favour, the ones I like the most. And they provide a lot of different shades of red, which are quite similar to one another. And so I'm not really getting through those as quickly as, for example, the orange, which has turned out to be one of my favourites, and the sap green dark, which is also a really good colour. And this one here, which has got a name I don't understand, which is purple. And the black is getting a little bit thin on the ground. I don't know what's happened there. I think I must have used all that in one go on something, and there's hardly any of that left. And these colours are really useful too. They're sort of opaque flesh colours, which are really good for softening things down. Anyway, what am I going on about this for? Ah, yes, green. There's a very good range of greens in this set of paints, I think. And if you like the semi-opaque look, which I do personally, here you've got all of these different colours, and so everything from hooker's green to sap green, light, medium and dark, and lime green, olive green, greenish yellow, and so on and so forth, and forest green, forest gump green, turquoise green deep, viridian and malachite, all brilliant. I actually just didn't realise how much I like green. And that's why I'm going to be painting in green today, because I'm sick of the winter. And it feels like snow today. I don't know what is going on here in Brittany. We moved here because of the mild climate, and the climate moved out, leaving us here in this, I don't know what. Somebody said the other day, I have to say this, if you had lived in Canada, you would know what really cold is. And she said it in the nicest possible way. Absolutely lovely. I think it was Anne. And I have mentioned this before, that we, in 1992, I think it was, we emigrated to Canada, Calgary, actually. And the winter that we arrived there, it was one of the coldest winters they'd had for a long time. And I remember hearing the weather forecast on the television and being informed in no uncertain terms that it was actually at that moment in time colder in Calgary than it was at the North Pole. And that really threw me for a loop. I didn't ever forget that. And I can tell stories all day about how cold it is in Canada. So no, I know it's nothing by comparison here, but I'm getting old. I don't want to be cold anymore. Anyway, never mind. Stop whining. Get on. I'm going to use this as my mixing palette. I've also got this one here, which has got in it some greens and blues, greens actually, and one blue, which are from my tube set. So these won't be quite so opaque. They'll be much more transparent. And I think probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint some tree shapes using the sort of semi-transparent ones, and then I'm going to add to that using the more opaque colours, I think. Let's see what happens anyway, because you never know, do you? You really don't. You never know what's going to happen. For example, yesterday I looked at my hand. This is my hand. This is my other hand. It's getting better now, but can you spot the difference? I thought I'd better tell you before we start. These are the hands of a 69-year-old lady. I have always had crinkly hands. Look at my palms. Unbelievable. I had my palm read once, and the palmist said, I give up. Too many lines. Can't read that. Too complicated. So anyway, yesterday, I suddenly noticed the whole of the back of my hand had been covered with thread veins, just like that, boom, from 1 minute to the next. So I immediately rushed to the doctor, and he said, oh, don't worry. He stroked my hand for a bit and gave it a nice rub, and lovely warm hands my doctor's got. And he said, no, it's nothing fatal. It'll go away. It's purpura. And I think it's because it's so cold, and all the little capillaries in the back of my hand had said, I've had too much. And they all burst simultaneously. But it's much better today. It looked really weird yesterday. I don't know if anyone else out there has ever had something like that happen, but it scared the bejeebers out of me. But anyway, so I did get to go and see my nice doctor again. I have a soft spot for nice French doctors who stroke the back of your hand. And then when he takes your blood pressure, he uses the old sphygmomanometer, and not one of those modern machines. He takes your hand and he tucks it under his arm, nice and warm under his arm, and holds it there with his elbow, and then he says, relax, and he takes your blood pressure, and you get, I don't know whether you get a higher reading or a lower reading, because, yes, well, anyway, enough said about doctors. Yes, I don't even know what his name is. Dr. Lukovic is his name. Okay, I'm going to do some circles like trees, and I'm just going to do them, there's a piece of plastic there, go away. I'm just going to do them in different shades of green and slightly different shapes. And I got this idea off of Pinterest. No, I didn't. I got this idea off of Etsy, from Etsy. Don't sound like a Cockney, Diane. I got an idea from Etsy, somebody selling prints and paintings and so on and so forth. And she had this idea, and I've stolen it. Well, I haven't stolen it. I borrowed it. Well, I'm going to adapt it. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I'm painting on a sheet of Clairefontaine Etival paper. This is 100% pure cellulose. No cotton involved. So no cotton involved. Is there a difference between cotton and cellulose as far as vegans are concerned? Anyone know the answer to that? What was I going to say? I'm trying to concentrate on two things at the same time. My left brain and my right brain are supposed to be working in consort, and they don't seem to want to at the moment, so having a bit of a problem there. Anyway, I'm enjoying this. Are you enjoying this? I hope you're enjoying this. I doubt if you're enjoying listening to my inane ramblings about French doctors. Nothing to do with painting, but I'm painting on a sheet, an A4, that is to say roughly 10 by 8 by 10 letter size paper, 100% cellulose, hard sized, so it's it takes the paint well. I saw a program on television, no, on YouTube. YouTube equals TV to me these days. I don't watch television anymore, only YouTube. And it was talking about recycling and how it's all been a total scam. And everyone should stop sending, this is in France, because nothing's actually getting recycled. Only about 5% of what you put into your recycling bin is getting recycled. So that's pretty bad, isn't it? Anyway, so it all gets sent to Africa and ends up in a big pile somewhere. And I was wondering, you know, there's an awful lot of very cheap cotton paper out there at the moment, and I was wondering where the cotton is coming from, because they can't possibly be making all this cheap cotton paper from you know, virgin cotton. So is that coming from recycled clothing? But then I thought, no, because not much clothing's actually made from cotton at the moment, is it? Anyway, I don't know. Right, so that's my tree-ish kind of shapes. And I'll put that over there for the minute. And I need another palette. And just check that my positioning's okay. I'm going to put in some thin trunks. I'll pick up a bit of black and a bit of green, greeny blue. Let's do it that colour, some of them anyway. And we're going to just draw a thin line. And I don't care if it runs. Or maybe I do. I don't think I want that. It makes it look like a face, doesn't it? I did a painting once of some poppies, and one of the poppies didn't have a stem, and a gentleman commented, "I really liked your painting, but the fact that one of the poppies doesn't have a stem is really irritating me." You wouldn't want to watch this one then, would he? If you want to make these stems vary, you can always put a little bit of water in, which will make the paint move. When you drop water into wet paint, it makes it go, and it jumps back in shock. So it makes it kind of, you know, a bit more. And then the other thing you can do, if you want to make it even more exciting, is pick up some dark green, for example, and then just go down the bottom, go down the side. Maybe make that a bit blacker. That is a good trick for doing stems on plants. And if you want to lighten it a bit, if you feel like that's a bit too dark, just dry your brush on a cloth or on a piece of tissue or whatever you have handy, your jeans, if you've got nothing better. I've gone down a size. I'm so pleased with myself. I've been dieting sort of a bit since October, I think, trying to lose some weight. I've lost about 14, 15 pounds, which is good. I'm back down to where I should be. I've been being such a pig for the last few years since the pandemic started. I think a lot of us gained a bit of weight, didn't we? Okay, so there we are. It looks like balloons at the moment, doesn't it? But yeah, so let's go to the colour that we want to use. Anything with a bit of black in it, that will make a bit of black, will make any green or blue much darker. We'll bring that back into the picture. And I'm going to start doing, what am I going to do? Do some, are these dry? They should be now. So we could start by, on this one maybe, we could take the branch stem up from the bottom. And this would be a nice little place here, I think, for a bird. But first of all, I'm going to build his tree. This is, you need to do this with a brush and to do it without giving yourself a nervous breakdown. You need to brush with a nice fine point. This is a Drawwell brush from Japan. The information for ordering them from Japan is in the description below the video. Mr. Mayame is the gentleman who sends me presents and rubs my hand. No, that's the doctor. Yeah, no, we don't have any affiliate relationship with them, but I do recommend their brushes because they're not expensive and they're better than most of the ones which are. And if you don't mind waiting a little while, a couple of weeks probably, I know in America you aren't having that problem, but we have been noticing here a gradual slowdown in the ability of Amazon to provide the things that we are trying to order, like to repair our air conditioning with. It doesn't seem like it's working as well as it was. So it suddenly seems as if it's not quite so traumatic to have to wait a week or two for something to come all the way from Japan if it's worth waiting for, like we used to. Over the last few years, we've got used, haven't we, to everything, and I'm sure it's still the same in America, everything being kind of available immediately on demand. And I never could quite get the hang of that. It just seemed to me to be strange that anything you wanted would be available. I mean, I didn't grow up in a world like that. You had to make, do and mend, Never mind if your socks had gone blue in the wash. You were going to wear them until you grew out of them. Blue socks, pink socks, one blue, one pink. How well I remember the embarrassment of that. Along with the navy blue knickers, no. Okay, so yeah, I'm just using the point of this brush to draw some circles. And we might come in later and put some gold or something in. I'm going to try not to use the gel pens for a while because I think they're a bit wasteful. I'm wondering about the bird. Should I put the bird in there or shall I wait until the end? Perhaps I'll put it in later. You'll notice that the colour I'm using is more or less the same, but it looks different because there's more pigment here, less pigment there, a little bit more water proportionally, and the background colour is different too. So I'm going to sort of go with the theme of having a sort of tree-like, an abstract sort of tree-like motif on each of these circles. Something like this. These ones I'm doing more loosely than those because I thought, well, I might draw around them to make them more shaped. Or I might just leave them the way they are. Good way to practice shapes with your brush, isn't it? And maybe, oh, this one hasn't got a stem. Oh dear, 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 sorry. There we go. Let's have something a little bit more. I don't want to smudge it, I hope it's dry. Let's maybe think about this one as being a bit more like a bush. Like that maybe. And we'll just put nice. Maybe if we paint leaves, then a few will come out on the trees. You never know. Could shame them into it, but they've only just fallen off the oak trees here. They lose their leaves really, really late. Well, actually, that's not quite true this year. They lost them in November, come to think of it, not January, because it was, guess what? So cold. Okay, and then this one over here, let's should we do some circles? And then what we could do is you could just drop in on one side of each of those wet circles a little drop of stronger, thicker, slightly thicker paint and let that bleed. We could do something like that here too. Just take some thicker paint. The Kuretake one is very good for this. I was watching Paul Clark, who is a fellow Brit of mine. I don't know him, but he comes from Sussex, or at least he lives in Sussex now. And I went to university in Sussex. I used to live in Sussex for quite a long time. Anyway, I don't know how I managed to miss bumping into him on the street. In the streets of Lewes or somewhere like that. Anyway, he was doing a painting on some black paper. And he was using Kuretake. And he was talking about how it's good for using if you want an opaque effect. And that's true. So even the master of transparent watercolour, Mr. Clark, has exhibited an interest. I won't say that he's been converted because I can't speak for him, but he has shown an interest in this interesting Japanese paint because we've all of us English people have been very indoctrinated, I think, I'd go so far as to say, with the idea of painting with transparent watercolour and meaning it to be transparent and needing it to be transparent. And that is painting in transparent watercolour is very hard. And I think that's one of the things that puts a lot of people off when they first start. It would be better if you started with, no, I'm going to let each row of that dry. I'll come back in a second to that because I want, or will I? No, maybe I'll do it like that. Maybe I'll do it like that. If I do, I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if it's going to work. Yeah, I think if people started watercolor using the semi-opaque stuff, the stuff that's like gouache, they would find it easier, and then consequently easier to transfer to transparent, perhaps. But transparent is difficult because it's very, very easy to end up with something that's just lost all the light and just plain dull. Let's do another tree branch here. This would be much quicker if you didn't have so many trees. This is, though, a good way to practice branch positioning, isn't it? And then you can just, you know, do something like that. This one I'm going to go over with some pen later because I've made a bit of an ugly mess there. Oh, I tell you what. Let's test this paper. Let's see. Let's say, that's an ugly mess. I'll get rid of that. So we'll just wet it. I was working on the Hahnemühle paper the other day and it gave up the paint really, really well. It just gave it right up. So I don't know whether this is going to work as well. I was watching Pam from the Paper Outpost this morning, and she's got a sore throat at the moment. She's got laryngitis and she can't speak, so I was looking at one of her older videos. No, that's not too bad. It didn't give it up quite so well. Let's try again, a little bit more. And she was showing how to make a junk journal from an old book, a really old book where the spine was falling off of the pages, and I don't think the contents were particularly inspiring. Anyway, so she was cutting it off and she made a mistake, but without missing a beat, she just turned the mistake into a whatever, you know, into what she meant to do. So it worked out better in the end. So let's get some more blue and make sure that I can see what I'm doing here, and you can see, more importantly, what I'm doing. I'm going to let that dry a little bit longer. What shall we do here? What shall we do? Any ideas, anybody? Let's all come from one place. just do some nice. Oops, let's move my hand out of the way there. We will try to vary the size. Bigger ones and smaller ones. Nice little stems. Okay, this here, what I was thinking of doing, I'm going to do it at the end. This one down here, what shall we do? What shall we do? What shall we do? What shall we do? Very, very good practice. If you're not confident with your brush work, and this will soon show up a bad brush, you know, it has to be said. You won't get much fun out of doing this if your brush has no point to it. A pointless brush is pointless. There's the age-old question. What is more important? Your paint? Your paper? Or your brush? I think the brush. Depends on what you're doing, of course, and if you choose to paint with a stick, that's fine too. But I mean, at the end of the day, you can paint on anything and you can paint pretty much with anything. But and that's to say, as far as the paint goes, there are so many different types out there at the moment. But I think if I was asked, and I've never been asked, I don't think, which I think is the most important, I think I'd have to say the brush. I think so. I mean, the discovery of the hake brush, the hake brush, the Chinese, Japanese brush, the big one, this one, the discovery by Ron Ranson of this brush, this was actually his brush. You can tell that because it's obviously losing its hair and it's very old. But Ron Ranson hake, or hake medium, it was, he said, is when he discovered that brush, that his painting went from being mediocre, tight, dark, you know, colourless, lifeless, uninteresting, or whatever. I can't remember what word exactly he used to describe it. Nondescript, probably. He was the kind of chap who would have said nondescript, a bit like me. So his painting was nondescript, probably quite good, but not very exciting until he discovered that brush. So there you are. The most important thing is the brush, according to me. So saith Diane. Ha ha. Oh, it looks like frog spawn, what I've done. Look at that. I'll tell you what, it needs connecting. Make it into toad spawn. Hee hee. Looks like one of those games that children play as well. Well, we'll do something later with that. We want some yellow, slightly yellowier green here, don't we, on this one? Which one should we do? Should we do this one? I was thinking about doing some fish this morning, so I didn't do it. So although I said to Tamsin, I'm going to do some fish today, I'm going to do some Valentine's fish, I think. And then I didn't. But you have to go with the flow. And I honestly don't think anyone should paint anything unless they feel that it's going to work for them on that particular day. You're painting the contents of your soul. Now, what was it Picasso said? I've forgotten the words exactly. He said something like painting clears away the dust from your soul. Yes, something like that. I can't remember the exact words. And I think that could be true. It certainly helps you to get through another day. So let's go back to this one. We want a nice dark blue, I think. Perhaps dull it down a bit, something like that, do you think? And then we're going to do something completely different to what we did in the first place, which didn't work at all. But that's good. That's another thing that Pam says on the paper outpost. Whatever happens, it's all good. It's all good. It doesn't matter. It's all good. And that's the thing with art. It's a bit more difficult if it's music, because sometimes, well, no, I'll take that back, because with music, some people's idea of harmony is, or melodious sounds is very different from other people's. So, you know, I might like the Brandenburg concertos and you might like Schopenhauer. Is it Schopenhauer? No, it sounds like a writer. I don't know. Anyway, Shostakovich, that's who I'm trying to think of. Which I don't, personally, but then some people do. That looks like a tree without any leaves. So that one is suffering from winter deprivation. So I'm just going to put a few little dots here, which you can interpret as snow or leaves that have been blown off by the wind. And I had a horrible desire to draw spirals there, but I don't think that's a very good idea. So we're going to do this instead. I think There's a lot of interest at the moment in what you might call non-representational art, which some people call abstract. And you could call it that. And I think, I don't know, for me, you have to be careful about that because it might end up revealing your innermost world, which may or may not be something you want to share with all and sundry. But if you think about it as being to paint not what you see, but what you wish you could see or what you would like to see. So you paint something beautiful, even though when you look out of your window, all you see is traffic and lights and flashing, sirens and all that stuff. You don't paint that, or at least I personally don't have any desire to. So I paint fantasy trees. This one hasn't got a doodah either. So this one is, I think I might do another one like that. I thought that was quite interesting. I do it in a light green. I'll just let the water sort of fill in. And then we'll need, I think it really does, but it doesn't need to be big. Okay, getting there. A few loose leaves for that one, I think. Have I done all of them? There's birds on that one. Could put birds on the others. So, okay, and then I think probably what we need to do is to put some let's put some shapes in the background. And you could say that these represent the sky deconstructed. And if you've got a little bit too much paint in one, just pick it up, pop it in one of the others that is lighter, and you'll get more of a textured effect. Something like that. What I did want to do, actually, I thought that one there was a bit too dark, so I'm just going to lighten that one up a bit. And then you could also, of course, deconstruct the grass down here. I don't know if that's an official term for this kind of work. Could be. So we're not painting grass, we're painting. Wouldn't it be fun if we went outside and we found that the grass had turned into beautiful semi-precious stones? Like this. And then maybe in the mid-ground, I hesitate to introduce anything brown, but just a slightly browner green for the distance. Now, yeah, sort of semi-distance, mid-ground. Now, there's lots of things you could do now, apart from putting the hairdryer on. You could use your pigment liner and do some shapes around some of the shapes. So you could, you could come in here and put in veins and things like that if you wanted to. You could use a white as well, and you could, I think that could look quite good if you did quite a bit of that. It's another thing you could do, and you could turn some of, I have to be careful with what I just did, you could turn some of these into flowers or spirals if you didn't really quite like what you'd done. I think I probably will do that. So we just do spirals on top of what I've done there. And that way the background gives a very good background for your doodling. So while you're watching Morse or the Rockford Files, you don't have to watch that. I used to watch the Rockford Files while I did the ironing, and I have absolutely no idea what was happening, but I just like to listen to the theme tune, really. So, and you could put another one there just in white if you wanted to. Someone sooner or later is going to say, why do you always talk about the Rockford Files? I don't know, is the answer to that. I have no idea. If you put this pen into a wet paint, it goes all blurry like that, which is kind of fun. And then the other thing you can do is you can get your Made in Germany Pearl Colors Coliro Gold paint, or your Kuretake Starry Colors, which are also good, or there's a gold on the bottom of this palette, a Kuretake palette-y thing. We'll get rid of this lot. And yeah, so we could have a go with this. I wetted this earlier, so it's quite thick and moist, and it's okay. So we could come in and spend a happy hour or two painting circles around circles. As I said, I could use this as well, the gold pen. I did buy some new ones, and they're fun to use as well. But if you were doing something big-ish, you wouldn't want to use the pens. You would prefer, wouldn't you, to use the paint, I think. These leaves need to be painted. Just a tiny dab inside each leaf. And I'll turn this around this way. I have to come towards you. Makes a difference. think I'll just do some gold dots around and about on this one. And we can do some gold leaves here next to the blue ones. Just anything you can think of, really. You will find, as you paint on, and I'm using a sort of this one here, a silver gold or platinum, I don't know what they call that. Your imagination and your ability to visualize. We were talking about that a while ago, weren't we? And I was saying how hard I find it to imagine what something's going to look like. And I do. I really do. But I think I'm slowly getting a little bit better. It's a bit late now, isn't it? But I think I have got a little bit better. So the more you paint, the more ideas you'll have and the more confidence you'll have in your choice of colours and so on. Let's go for rinse that off, and we'll go for the silver here. A Fantasia, that's what I think what it was called, wasn't it? I don't know if that's going to show. It might in certain lights from certain angles. I can't see it really. Oh well, I won't stop and just keep going. This one it will though, won't it? No, I don't know about that silver. I'm not sure that that works for me. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. Okay. Or you could just go on all day, couldn't you? And put some more gold leaves up here. I think I like that effect of having them separate. So one light and one dark. Gold on the same painting, that sort of fills it up a bit, doesn't it? Quite nice. And this one, let's put some dashes in, since this one looks like stitching. Do you know what I have been looking for, and is a channel like mine, which isn't to do with art, where I can listen to somebody just rambling generally on about life in a calm and non-woke way. Whoops, no, mustn't use that word. Sorry, in a calm way, talking nonsense, a bit like me, no particular political or social or health axe to grind. Has anyone got any recommendations? Yeah. Because when I go to bed at night, I just want to listen to somebody blathering, but not excitedly, and not trying to convince me of something, not trying to teach me what to think about, COVID or anything else. Just talking about the weather and what they did and yesterday, and anyone got any suggestions? Who do you listen to at night? Apart from your husband snoring, of course. I put mine in a separate room. He can't sleep. He's absolutely appalling and always was. And so some years ago, I said, enough's enough. You must leave. And he's not far away, but, my sleep is very important to me. I know when I had babies, when I could not get, I don't know how people manage, and if they haven't got a husband who will get up, because honestly, I couldn't get through the day if I had to get up in the night. So I was very lucky to have a husband who was willing to get up for the children. And that meant I could not go mad, which is always useful. So on these circles, I'm going to do lines and circles on these circles. It's surprising what a difference it makes to the overall effect. This is modern watercolor. I'm going to have to dry it a bit. Yeah, I would be very interested to hear if anybody has any suggestions. I know about the Last Halfway House. That's a lady in the north of England, but she's given it taken a break at the moment. So that's not happening. A bit like my white pen, not happening. That's better. It likes doing dots. It doesn't much like doing lines. Reminds me of neographic art. Last time I said that, I was in trouble because apparently it's not like neographic art. But anyway, whatever. The patience involved. I'll tell you what it's like. It's like that other thing. What's it called? Zentangle. But it isn't. It isn't. I know it isn't. But you need a lot. Oh, Tamsin's good at that. She should start a Zentangle channel. She's absolutely amazing. I think the problem is a little bit with the paper being a little bit rough. It doesn't like the pen, or the pen doesn't like it. I have tried to dry it, but I only want a very soft effect. I could probably do it with a pen. Sorry, why do I keep saying pen when I want to say brush? Let's see whether I can do it with the point of the brush, what I want to do. You can do something, but it's not quite the same. So I think I'm probably going to more or less have to just kind of quickly just want to break these a little bit like that. And then I had intended, see, I don't know, see, it's working there. I think it's because the paint's so thin. It doesn't seem to want to work, but put the veins in these ones as well. Some of them, perhaps not necessarily absolutely all. And in some of these have got gold veins. And I think that's probably about it. We could put some circles around those, but I don't think we'll bother. And yeah, so we could take that up there to continue it on. from down below, perhaps. That looks a bit more sensible. And this one, yeah, needs to continue on. We might try to just tidy that up a bit. Not sure if that's going to come out. And then if we dry it, yeah, we can just help that a little bit. Yeah. Okay, well, I think I'm probably done here for today. So if you enjoyed that, give us a like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and please visit our website at dianeantone.com, where you can download lots of sketches for all the paintings that require them, which I think probably doesn't include this one, and then we have other things over there as well. We do have a few products as well, which I haven't mentioned for ages. There are some mugs and some colouring book digital downloads. And if you're a member, you get 50% or almost 50% or something. There's a £5 or a £10 discount voucher if you're a member of Patreon, which you can spend on the things that we have in our shop on our website. Digital downloads. And as I say, you can get from Spring a few mugs and books. I think we've got a few notebooks that we've designed that you can support us by buying those. Yes, it's very helpful if you feel that way inclined, and we do appreciate it very much indeed. And if not, if all else fails, please leave a comment below and or give us a like if you haven't got time to leave a comment. But I do try to reply to all the comments as much as possible, as many of them as I possibly can, because I enjoy reading. I do read them all, even if I miss one or two and I don't reply. But if you have any questions, I always answer the questions first. Members first, then the questions, and then if I can, you'll find me sitting on the loo, sending you messages just before I go to bed at night, and any time sitting in the car waiting to see the doctor or whatever, I will be busily engaged with my phone, looking like I'm playing Angry Birds, but actually I'm talking to the nicest people in the world. So I will let you go, and I'll finish this and we'll get it whacked up for you for tonight. So thanks very much, everybody, for being here and listening to my inane rambling, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.